Today, we're diving into something truly fascinating, Yantra Yoga. It's this incredible discipline that uses sacred geometry not just as beautiful art, but as a powerful tool for spiritual transformation. So let me just start with this question. What if a drawing, a specific geometric design, could actually remap your consciousness? What if it could act like a functional tool for your mind, a kind of guide to higher states of awareness? Well, that's pretty much the core promise of Yantra Yoga. So, to really get our heads around this, let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is a yantra? And, where does this practice fit into the massive world of yoga? Okay, so the word yantra, it actually comes from the Sanskrit root yam, which means to control or sustain. And tra is a suffix that means it's an instrument. So a yantra is literally an instrument for controlling and sustaining your focus. You see, it's not just a pretty picture, it's a piece of spiritual technology. And to see where Yantra Yoga fits in, it really helps to compare it to other paths. So you've got Karma Yoga, which is all about ethical action in the world. Then there's Mantra Yoga, which uses the power of sound and vibration. But Yantra Yoga, it operates in a totally different way. It's a path of visual cognition. It works through your eyes and your mind to understand really deep symbolic meaning. Now, this whole visual practice, it is definitely not some new invention. It has an incredibly deep and ancient history that's really worth exploring. If you go way back, the earliest Vedic traditions were really focused on sound, mantra, and ritual, karma. But then somewhere between the 6th and 12th centuries, something shifted. Tantric traditions started to systematically use yantras as these visual maps for really complex ideas about reality. And over time, other yoga paths absorbed these ideas, and eventually, in modern times, they became super popular. Though, sometimes they get a little disconnected from their original deep philosophical roots. And this is the Sri Yantra. It's often called the queen of all yantras, really the pinnacle of the whole tradition. It's not just a diagram, it's a complete map of the cosmos. What you're seeing is the sacred dance between Shiva, which represents pure static consciousness, and Shakti, the dynamic creative energy that makes up the entire universe. So, it's really important to know that not all yantras are the same. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. It's better to think of them as a toolkit of specialized maps, where each one is designed for a very specific purpose. You basically have 4 main types. There are deity yantras, which help you connect with the energy of a specific divine being. Then you have bija yantras, which are incredibly potent because they combine the geometry with the vibrational power of sacred seed syllables. You also have cosmological yantras, which are kind of like universal blueprints. And finally, therapeutic yantras are used for more specific goals, like harmonizing psychological or even astrological influences in your life. Okay, so this is the big question, right? How does someone actually use one of these maps? How does a practitioner take what looks like a simple drawing and use it to literally transform their own consciousness? Because, and this is so important, it is way more than just, casually looking at a picture. Yantra Yoga is a highly structured, disciplined, and progressive method. So what does that process actually look like? Well, the journey follows a really clear path. It all starts with initiation. You have to get proper instruction from a teacher. Then comes a purification phase, which is all about building ethical discipline and a calm mind. The real practice begins with steady gazing on the physical yantra. From there, you learn to internalize it, to visualize the entire form perfectly in your mind without even looking at it. And the final step? Transcendence. That's where the yantra has done its job. It's been like a ladder, and you've climbed it to a state of awareness where the map itself just isn't needed anymore. Now, to really grasp this practice, we need to talk about the ultimate destination, and, at the same time, clear up a pretty common misunderstanding. So, a question that comes up a lot is this. Since Yantra Yoga uses symbols and works with energy, isn't it basically the same thing as Reiki? And look, it's a fair question, but the answer is a very clear and definite no. When you put them side by side, the differences are huge. Yantra Yoga is an ancient practice from Indian Tantra, and its ultimate goal is spiritual liberation. It's part of this vast, comprehensive metaphysical system. Reiki, on the other hand, started in early 20th century Japan. Its main focus is on therapeutic healing, and it operates as a form of symbol-based energy work, but without that same deep tantric framework behind it. And this right here, this gets to the philosophical heart of the whole thing. The really revolutionary idea in Yantra Yoga is that you don't have to reject the physical world, the world of forms, to find freedom. No, instead, it says that form itself, when you truly understand its deeper, symbolic reality, can become the direct path to the formless. So this leaves us with a pretty mind-bending thought to end on. If simple geometry can be a language for the sacred, if it can be a map for consciousness, it just makes you wonder, right? What other hidden maps are out there, waiting in art, in nature, maybe even in science, just waiting for us to learn how to read them?